Here we are celebrating Social Work Month, and we are so excited to be here. My name is Deneen Diamond. I'm the lead for the Center of Excellence for Health. We have a beautiful host class with us, Mr. Abbott. Mr. Abbott, can you give us a wave?
Hey.
And we'd love to see your students.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, guys. All right, we're about to start the presentation. All right, virtually. So just put your phones away, please. Okay. All right, perfect.
Yes, it's always a struggle to get the phones away. Absolutely. So, like I said, we're celebrating National Social Work Month, which is a very special month and very important for us to talk about the careers of social workers. I have some amazing guests with me, and we are very blessed to be partnered with the New Brunswick Social Work Association. And to start, I'm going to introduce Laura, and Laura is the communications officer. Laura is responsible for the creation and planning of activities related to communications and media relations. This involves writing communication materials as well as planning and arranging events in support of the New Brunswick Association for Social Work mandate. So, when you think about this career that Laura has, she is absolutely associated with the social workers. She does a lot of writing. So this is something that you're interested in and something that you are passionate about. This may be a career for you. So Laura is actually going to start with a really interesting video that I think is going to help hook you into understanding what a social work does and what they don't do.
Hi, everyone, and thanks, Deneen, for the introduction, and thank you for everyone who's here today online. It's nice to be able to talk about the social work profession during the month of March, because as Deneen said, it's Social Work Month, so happy Social Work Month. I'm not a social worker myself, as Deneen mentioned. My field of studies was advertising and marketing communications, but with that, I have the privilege of being the NBASW's communications officer, where I help to promote that profession. And recently, we've been promoting social work to, of course, mark Social Work Month, but really to let people know what social work is and who it impacts and how much of an impact they have on New Brunswickers and New Brunswick communities and individuals. And so we've done that through the help of our new public promotional campaign. So I'll go ahead and show you the main video of our campaign. And for reference, this is actually a social experiment that took place 2 months ago, where we asked 10 New Brunswickers to associate a quote that they heard, a child's quote, to the frontline worker that helped them or saved them. So I'll show you the video, and while you're watching it, just a little challenge, if you will, to try and guess which frontline worker each quote is associated to or associated with. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And Deneen, if there's an issue with the sound, just let me know.
Yep.
And action.
When I called for help, my heart was beating so fast. I just wanted someone to help me, to help my mom.
My family was in real danger. If they hadn't come, someone in my family could have died.
I was in a lot of pain before they arrived. Without their help, I might not have made it.
Hi, I'm Annie. I'm a child protection social worker. All of these stories are about people I helped.
That's awesome, Laura. Thanks so much for sharing. And I always get goosebumps and cry every time too. So hopefully the video really, I guess, helped to kind of debunk some of the stigma that people have regarding social workers and what they do. And as you saw in the video, they have many different roles because of the different stories. But a lot of us don't think about that as frontline and as people that are, arriving to different scenarios as the first person, which is a great thing. It comes with a lot of pressure, but I am going to introduce Kira, and Kira is a social work consultant, and she's going to be here talking a little bit more about what are the roles and responsibilities of a social worker. So Kira's responsibility for the activities related to the promotion of social work profession, member engagement, and social policy. She is heavily involved in the implementation of the comprehensive 5-year social work recruitment and retention strategy. And all that really means is that she's really trying to help people understand what social workers do, why you maybe want to become a social worker, and why you want to stay here in the province. And that's what we love to talk about too, because all of the jobs that you may be thinking about or maybe, exploring, most of those jobs, I'm not going to say all because I get in trouble for, putting it all in one box, but most of those jobs, especially in health and social care, you can do here in our province. And if that's something that you're thinking about, certainly, obviously, if you're in the Healthcare 11-0 class with Mr. Abbott, you probably are thinking about that. And that's how we can help here. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Kira, and I am going to turn my camera off so that she can see the students. And Kira, off to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Janine. I'll just get my screen shared. Hopefully you can all see that okay. Like Janine mentioned, I'm the social work consultant with the New Brunswick Association of Social Workers, and I am a registered social worker myself. So a little bit about my background. I did my Bachelor of Arts at St. Thomas University, and then I went on to do my Bachelor of Social Work there. And currently I'm doing my Master's of Social Work through Wilfrid Laurier. So today, I'm really happy to be talking to you all about the profession of social work. I'll provide a little bit more information and insight on what social workers do in their roles and what approach they pull from and what really separates them from other mental health professionals. So first, before we dig in more to the profession of social work, we'll talk a little bit about what the New Brunswick Association of Social Workers is as an organization. The NBASW, we have 2 mandates. So the first is regulating the profession of social work and protecting the public. So that means that anyone, in order to be called a social worker, to use the title or to practice within the scope of social work, they do need to be registered with us to work in the province. And so social workers across the country need to be registered with their provincial regulatory body. And this is the same for all regulated health professionals, such as nurses, doctors, paramedics. I could go on. And here in New Brunswick, we actually have a dual mandate at the association. So in addition to protecting the public, we also promote the profession. And so we act as the voice for social workers in New Brunswick, and we do that through a range of activities. Some professions have one association to regulate them and another one to advocate for the profession. But here at the NBASW, we do both of those things. At the NBASW, we also advocate for social justice, and we take a stand on important issues that are going on in New Brunswick. And we also write guidelines and standards of practice documents for social workers and maintain the code of ethics that they need to abide by in practice. So now that you know a little bit more about the NBASW, we'll take a look at what social work is. So whether you know nothing about social work, whether you've seen some social workers on movies, or whether you know a social worker yourself, we know, and I'm sure you all know, that there are some myths about the profession. So we'll talk a little bit about those and what social work really is. The Canadian Association of Social Workers is the national voice for the profession in Canada and represents social workers from across the country. The CASW defines social workers as regulated health professionals who work with individuals, families, groups, and communities to improve individual and collective well-being. Social workers respond to issues like racism, poverty, and unemployment, and they also advocate for social justice, human rights, and fair access to health and social services. In New Brunswick, there are almost 2,300 social workers who are registered and working here in the province. I'm extra excited to be here talking with you all today because, as Deneen mentioned, March is Social Work Month here in New Brunswick and across Canada. This year, the CASW adopted a new national code of ethics, which includes 7 core values of the social work profession. These are to promote the new code. They made that this year's Social Work Month theme, 7 points of unity, many possibilities. And you'll see on the screen, the first 3 values are respecting the dignity and worth of all people, pursuing truth and reconciliation, and promoting social justice. The last 4 values of the profession are valuing human relationships, maintaining privacy and confidentiality, providing competent professional services, and preserving integrity in professional practice. So how are social workers different from other mental health professionals? I'll now take some time to explain the approach that social workers take in practice and how this separates them from other professions. Social workers work from a person and environment perspective that's really unique to the profession. Social workers are different from other mental health professionals because they understand individuals within the greater context of their environments. We believe that it's not enough to understand just an individual's presenting problems. There's so much more to understand. We need to understand the whole context of the situation and all the factors externally that are also impacting the individual. This really gives us a complete understanding of a situation and of what our clients are going through. And it also helps us to better target which interventions could help this person. Social workers understand that people are influenced by their environments, but also influence their environments. And we look at how family, community, legal, social, spiritual, and economic influences impact the well-being and the work with and we work with the individuals to address any barriers that may exist. Here's another visual that shows the multiple levels of influence that we all experience in our everyday lives. Social workers will consider all of these interconnected levels of influence during their first assessments with clients and also throughout the treatment process. Social workers will assess what strengths and challenges exist on each of these different levels, and they'll target their interventions accordingly. You may be familiar with the American psychologist Abraham Maslow and his pyramid of needs, which is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The bottom of the pyramid here represents the most basic needs of a person up to their higher level needs. And it's presented as a pyramid because pyramids need to have a really strong foundation. So at the very bottom, we have our basic biological needs. These are physiological needs like food, water, sleep. They're really what we need in order to survive. So once we've fulfilled our basic physiological needs, we can work our way up onto safety and security needs, which includes things like your health, your job, and your school. If someone feels secure in these various aspects of their lives, they can move on to the third level of the hierarchy, which is the need for love and belonging. This includes factors like friendship, intimacy, and a general sense of connection with others. We then have self-esteem, where factors include confidence, achievements, and the need to be a unique individual. And the final point of the pyramid is self-actualization, where things like morality, purpose, and meaning come into play. Reaching the peak means that you're living your fullest potential, but you can't reach the peak unless all the other levels are there for you. Social workers assess a person's needs to help them with the problems that they may be facing. And the pyramid can help social workers to understand which interventions to focus on first. For example, imagine you're a social worker and someone came to you for counseling because they were experiencing low self-esteem. But imagine when you're working with that individual, you learn that they actually are homeless. They don't know where they're going to sleep at night. You might target your interventions differently and shift that as the priority. So a social worker would have a role in helping the client to navigate the different social systems that exist and the different options that are available to them, and can advocate for them to receive housing or make sure they have a safe place to stay. Only once that stability can be had, then the client will naturally more likely have better self-esteem, but then that's when it's really kind of appropriate to address that next step and next goal of treatment. Social workers understand factors on a macro, meso, and micro level, and they understand how each of these levels can impact individual experiences. So the macro level, which is the big outer circle here, it includes all of the large factors or systems, such as nations, legal systems, economies, and anything really on a massive scale that can trickle down and impact us. The meso level includes medium-sized factors, such as communities and political parties. And the micro level factors are small systems that affect individuals. These include your families and your friends, the people that you really live with and see every day. There are actually social work jobs that are specifically tailored and focused on each of these levels. So if you find joy working directly with people, you might consider work on the micro level. This could involve providing counseling and advocacy for individuals. If you wish to work with groups and communities, you may work on the meso level, and social workers at this level may work with specific communities and institutions like schools, hospitals, or prisons. And if you think your skills are best suited for work behind the scenes to create widespread difference, you should consider work on the macro level. This could involve doing research or policy work. So now we're going to explore where social workers work. Thinking about the organizations and services that are available here in New Brunswick, where are some places you think that employ social workers? Maybe we'll take a couple minutes here because I would really love to hear where you folks think you can find social workers in New Brunswick. Maybe you can just pop some options in the chat or unmute.
Hi, guys, where do social workers work? Where do you think? This isn't a hard question. Nobody can tell me where you think social work. Yeah, go ahead, Brianna. Okay, schools. Okay, yep. Okay, where else? Go ahead, Sadie. Probably a law office.
Potentially.
Legal setting. Who else wants to throw out? Where else do you think social workers work? Yeah, group homes. All right, would probably be one. Okay, any others? Think about it. There's way more than that, guys. Social workers work. Any other thoughts? No, I also probably like a federal institution, like a penitentiary or a jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. You want to weigh
What
on
about
that
in hospitals? And that's just a question. Do social workers work at hospitals?
If you want me to answer, yes. Social workers they're all over the place in hospitals. Usually each department would have a social worker on staff. So you can find social workers in ERs, palliative care wings, NICUs, they're all over the hospital for sure. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Those were some great ideas, and you're bang on. You can definitely find social workers in all those places that you mentioned. For the more law-related social work could be in victim services. So that could be one example there of a specific social work role that's heavily linked with the legal system. And absolutely for the group homes, it's not necessarily the social workers that are on staff with the group homes, but they are all linked to a social worker through child protection in the Department of Social Development. So that's absolutely correct as well. So you'll see on the slide here, social workers work in a wide array of settings with different populations and in many fields. One of the really cool things about the social work profession is all of the job opportunities that it opens up for you. There are really so many different places where social workers are employed. And so it gives you the flexibility of changing it up throughout your career, changing up where you're working with, or where you're working and who you're working with, rather. So that's one really neat aspect of the profession. So you'll see on the screen here, there's a ton of kind of examples of specific roles, practice areas, and client groups that social workers might work with, but this is not an exhaustive list. And social workers, they're really all over the place, and you might not even know that it's a social worker you're talking to sometimes when you're talking to them. So social workers can help students at schools and universities, patients at hospitals, community health centers, and through extramural programs, employees in their workplace through employee assistance programs, service users at nonprofit organizations, through various victim services programs, like I mentioned, and so on. So that's just to name a few. In New Brunswick, the biggest employer of social workers is really the government of New Brunswick. Almost half of all social workers work for GNB. And within government, the Department of Social Development is the biggest employer. I pulled some of our registration data just before this to give you a sense, but they employ 650 social workers who largely work in the areas of child protection, long-term care, and disability support services. The regional health authorities are the second biggest employer in New Brunswick, and here we have two RHAs. So we have Horizon Health Network and Vitalité Health Network. And based on our registration data, about 540 social workers work within the New Brunswick RHAs. So with some of those numbers in mind, the big question, do we need more social workers in the province? And the answer is undoubtedly yes. There's a huge need for more social workers in the province, and more people are recognizing all of the amazing things that social workers can do, and we're seeing new social worker positions pop up in the province. A recent example is the recent rollout of school social worker positions. So before the past couple of years, there wasn't social worker positions located within schools. So that's something that's new and that's going to be expanding in the future years. In my role at the NBASW, as was mentioned, I'm helping to lead the 5-year social worker recruitment and retention strategy. And so through this strategy, we're really working to keep existing social workers in the province and also working to bring new social workers to the province. We're doing this by enhancing international recruitment efforts, but also by educating the next generation about the profession, just as I get to do a little bit with you all today. We recognize that you folks are really the next generation of leaders and professionals, and it's so important to learn about social work because even if you don't want to become social workers yourselves, it's important to know about because the likelihood is that all of us are going to have interactions with the social worker at some point in our lives because social workers really work with people right from birth to death. So when you think of social work and social workers, what traits do you think they should have? I'd love to hear what you all think. So again, I'd love to, if you could shout out some traits and characteristics you think would be important.
Okay, folks, what type of qualities should someone have if they want to be a social worker? Go ahead, Brian. Compassion. Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Rissa. Empathy.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, Grady. Patience. Yep. Any others? Come on, guys. What other traits does a social worker have to have in order to be effective? Go ahead, Sadie. Kindness. Absolutely. Yep.
Yep.
Right. Their mental health should be good before they're assisting someone with their mental health.
Mm,
Yep,
that's a good point
absolutely.
as well.
Okay, who else? Go ahead, Emma. They need to be considerate. Yep, for sure. Anybody else want to jump in? All right, Mackenzie, Carissa, any thoughts over there? Traits that make an effective social worker. No? Kaylee? Haley? Carly? No? Sarah? Jenna?
I think one trait to me, and maybe it's not a trait, but the importance of making sure that they are providing self-care to themselves is so important. And I know that goes hand in hand with mental health for the student that said mental health. But I would assume that social workers hopefully are taught how important it is to take time for themselves and really nourish that time to make sure that they are healthy.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. So you really need to take care of yourselves before you can take care of others, and be able to do that long term in your career. It's definitely a skill. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for participating. NB Health Jobs, I peeked on their website to see what they saw as the most important traits for social workers. And they had maturity and emotional stability as one, patience as another, a sensitivity to and an understanding of beliefs and values that are not your own, critical thinking skills and good judgment, resourcefulness, and communication. So that was their main list, and all of those are super important as well. When I personally think of social workers' qualities, I think having a passion for helping others and having the desire to make a world a better place. That's really foundational to this career. So that's a great driver that'll draw people in. And beyond the characteristics we've already talked about, social workers really need to be adaptable. Their roles are ever changing, things are always popping up, so you need to have that adaptability. And they also need to be good at active listening, critical thinking, problem solving, and empowering people. And I guess I just want to speak to, we mentioned that it's important to have, good mental health ourselves before helping others. But people who have experienced challenges in their lives and overcome those challenges, they make the best social workers, right? Because they're really able to empathize with the clients and their situations, and make a huge difference in the lives of others. So I just wanted to flag that. That's a beautiful thing for social workers to have, is, personal history also that they can draw from and use it to help others. So you might now be wondering, how do people become social workers? The minimum level of education that you need to become a social worker is a 4-year Bachelor of Social Work degree from an accredited university. There are also going to be new college to university bridging programs that are being introduced in the province. A new one that's coming here is people can go to New Brunswick Community College and take their social service community worker diploma, which is a 2-year diploma program there. And then they could apply to the University of New Brunswick St. John for their Bachelor of Social Work program. And they would only need to complete 2 years of that BSW program to get their degree, if they have their previous NBCC social service community worker diploma. So that would allow people the opportunity to, work a bit in between their studies. And it's just really another option and way to make the profession of social work a little more accessible to those who are interested in pursuing it. So hopefully you all learned something new about social work from this presentation. We did show one of our social work child protection public campaign videos at the very beginning. But if you wish to see the other public campaign videos that we've released, they can be found on the website links on this slide. And I would encourage you to check out the other videos under the Who Saved Me link. We have 2 testimonials from child protection social workers in the province, and they're pretty powerful. So maybe have a box of Kleenex with you if you're a crier like I am. But yeah, that's all I had for the presentation part. So I see Denine's hopped back on. I think we're going to play a game now.
Awesome. We are going to play a game. The students are going to be excited. And Mr. Abbott, I hope you're okay with this. We're going to get the students to get their phones out. And we're going to play a little Kahoot game. My intern is actually going to put up the Kahoot code. And just so that you know, we are playing for prizes. The New Brunswick Association for Social Work has offered to provide a few prizes for us, and it's some of the swag that they're giving out to their social workers this month. So it's pretty neat. So we are going to take the top, I think it's top 2 or top 3, Laura, can you remind me?
Top 3.
Top 3 students, and I believe you have quite a small class, so the odds are pretty good. So I am going to let the Kahoot game play, and be patient with me because I am not a technology person. We got Dandy Bunny going on. We got Fabulous Cheetah. So we'll just wait a few minutes for you guys to sign in.
The code's 59330.
Lively Bison. Wise Penguin. The Daring Yak. Oh, I like that. Lively.
Are you going to play this over here?
Just waiting for a few more minutes. And of course, there's no need. You don't have to play if you don't want to, but we'd love to have you play. It's easy. I promise. If you were listening at all, you're probably going to do really well. And I just wanted to mention while we're doing this, thank you so much for sharing about the education that's needed for social workers, because I was unaware of the NBCC program that is now being offered. And I just had a quick question. Is that a new program?
Yeah, they've graduated 1 cohort already, and I believe there's another one graduating this spring. So it's been ongoing for a couple of years, but it is relatively new to the province, and the bridging pathways that it's offering is definitely new. So that's definitely exciting.
And what NBCC campus is that offered?
It's offered at a few different ones. I think St. Andrews and Miramichi are a couple of them, but that's all on the NBCC website if anyone's interested in checking out the exact locations.
Yeah, St. Andrews wouldn't be bad to take that course, that's for sure. And if anybody's interested in getting more information, I'm partners with NBCC as well, and we certainly can help find that information. All right, I think we're just about there. I am going to say we're going to start.
Sounds good.
Here we go. So the first question, social work is specifically for people who want to work in child protection services. Is that a myth or is that a fact? So again, all of these questions were answered during the presentation, and we're trying to debunk some of those stigmas that we know about social workers. Okay, and the answer, that's a myth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think I touched on in the presentation, there's really a lot of different career opportunities that social work offers. So child protection absolutely is one of those areas, but you could also work in mental health and addictions, in hospitals, in nonprofits. There's all sorts of possibilities where you could work, and also what different types of clients you could work with. Not all the work involves working with children. You can also help, military veterans, older adults through long-term care. There's lots of different client groups and job options.
Awesome. Next question. Oh, we got to look at the score. Amazing Otter, you are first place. Woo, woo. All right, here we go. Social work is best suited for women. Fact or myth? I think we might have gave you too much time, but that's all right. Sometimes it takes a while to think about it. Okay. Obviously, we know that's a myth. And Kira, can you talk about a little bit about the statistics?
Yeah, so I did pull the numbers here before this, and based on our registration data, 88% of social workers in the province identify as female. So for those that identify as male, there's only 251. So it's a myth, and we want people of all sexes to join the profession. It's so important to have, males in the profession as well. So absolutely a myth.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Where are we at? Is the amazing otter still there? Yes. Awesome. All right, here we go. Social workers are first responders. Fact or myth? Hopefully. There we go. That is fact, right? And I think we learned that a lot in the video, but go ahead, Kira.
Yeah, absolutely. Social workers are definitely first responders. There's a lot of times, especially in the areas of child protection, where police might need to accompany social workers, but it's social workers that are walking in the door first and really, dealing with the family first. So absolutely, social workers respond to lots of different scenarios and are often the first on the scene. Mobile crisis units is another example of that. So I'm happy to see this many people chose fact for that. Very cool.
Awesome. Thank you. Here we go.
Just for the sake of time, today we got about 30 minutes before the bell will go. Just giving you a heads
Okay,
up.
we'll take one more question and then we're going to wrap her up. Social workers are specifically for providing therapy and counseling. Ooh, good one. Fact or myth? And here we go. That's a myth. And we're going to leave the session there, but I want to know who won. So we need to know who the top three are. Here we go. Amazing Otter. Is Amazing Otter someone that can stand up and give a little wave? Please take note, Mr. Abbott, because I'll have to get these names from you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. Daring Yak. Daring Yak, stand up.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So that's Kaylee. Yep.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome Wildcat.
Awesome Wildcat. Charlie, is that you? Yeah, Charlie. Okay.
Charlie. All right. So top three will receive a prize. Mr. Abbott and Mr. Abbott's class. I'm not going to take away from your lunchtime, I promise. So thank you so much for being here. Super interactive. I want to thank Kira and Laura from the New Brunswick Association for Social Work. You guys have been tremendous presenters. I also do want to let you know that if anybody in the class is looking for more information about social work and how they can get involved, I hear you have a very special social worker coming to your class next week for a presentation. So certainly feel free to reach out to myself, and Mr. Abbott knows how to get a hold of me. And thank you so, so much. Have a beautiful day.
Perfect. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Kira. Thank you, Laura.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you later, guys.
Bye.